Dolores. Sylvia Bruni, here. Miriam, absent. Rosa Maria, absent. Diana Espinosa.
Here.
Esther.
Present.
Maribel.
Here.
Olga.
Here.
Elia, absent. Alice, absent. Sylvia Palumbo.
Here.
Lupita Guadalupe.
Here.
Sandra Taylor, absent. And Diana Rodriguez.
Here.
All right. Okay, folks. Public comments from anyone? Let's consider approval of the minutes for our February 10th meeting.
I so moved.
I second.
All right. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The report from the nominating committee.
On
The nominations. Is there a report?
We did. We actually got together and we came up with several names, and those people were declining the position. So what we came up with was making the recommendation that the I was going to say the new members of the Laredo Commission for Women take turns, and they'll be on rotation of one doing it once a month.
Unless we have anyone that is willing to self-nominate?
Are we open for discussion right now?
Yes.
Okay. What we're doing in one of our organizations at the college is someone, well, we have the agenda, and it's PowerPoint to the TV. And the person, usually the person that is doing the meeting, the president or somebody else, as the items are being discussed, the notes are taken right then and there. And so the group can actually see the response to item 1, the response to item 2, and you just do it, you know, and it will. There's
All right, very good.
I mean, that's another possibility.
Do we have the power for that? Do we have?
Unfortunately not, because the TV's not working.
But it normally is working.
Yeah, but it hasn't been working for the last
Thank
month,
you.
and the city still trying to figure out what's wrong with it.
Really?
The TV.
Yeah.
Well, in lieu of that,
It works real well. I mean, maybe for a future.
maybe for future we can explore it.
You just do it right then and there. You don't feel like you have that thing hanging over your head, and everybody's seeing what you're inputting.
Right.
And then, of course, the final approval, Sulema and everybody will critique it, I'm sure, before, and then we approve it later.
So in lieu of the fact, or in light of the fact that we don't have access to that kind of technology right now, I'm going to do you want to make a motion? Repeat the proposition.
We make a motion that we have Laredo Commission for Women volunteers, or if we don't have a volunteer, we'll just draw names, and one per month. That would be the secretary for that meeting.
What I would suggest, I know that Amber already has a template that makes it very easy to take notes. You have to remember that when you take notes for minutes, you don't necessarily take notes of everything that's being discussed.
Right.
You take notes on whatever items were action items, because those are the ones that need to be recorded. So in light of the fact that we don't have anyone either self-nominating or being nominated, then would you propose that as a motion?
I do. I'm proposing as a motion.
And
Make a
seconded?
motion.
I second that.
All right, seconded by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. What we can do then, would you go ahead and continue taking them for today, Amber? And then possibly for the next, in anticipation of the next meeting, you have your template in
Word.
In Word. If you'll send it to Sulema, she can send it to all of us, and then we either draw names or we go in alphabetical order in some form or
We
fashion.
just have copies here. When we have our meeting, we can just have copies of the template.
Yes, okay, very good. All right, so that's resolved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Done.
Good, Esther. The next item on the agenda is the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to do something here that I hope Olguita will not mind. She was very, very gracious. She brought roses. But I have to tell you something, and I made a point of commenting on it Sunday. Macarena, who was a wonderful speaker, and I hope we continue because that was the other thing that I heard comments about. I think that made the honorees and the guests feel like it was really a momentous occasion. But she had mentioned, for those of you who were not here, I know that Ella was busy with her future father-in-law and family. And Maribel had, her daughter was in surgery and Olguita was, and so I know some of you weren't there. But she made a point of, her whole reflection was based on how so much of what influenced her was a community. And she focused on her family. And so it occurred to me as I was watching you all running around like little, every one of you, as soon as you walked in the door, everyone was moving. And that was just yesterday. There had been so much work that went into it. The very careful selection of the nominees that Diana oversaw, all the work that Elia did with Esther and everyone else on the trophies, the rebosos, Sylvia working on the rebosos. It was just very much and I said something about really we ought to be called the community of women, not just the commission of women, because it was esta muchachita was very, very instrumental in making sure that everything went beautifully. And so I'd like to share the roses with Esther, if you don't mind.
That's fine. Just take the heart off. Take the heart off.
And then to top it off, she brings regalitos for everyone. These are for us.
Ándale.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I know what it is to accept.
I'm blushing.
You don't mind?
No, I don't mind.
Because she was wonderful.
Thank you.
go,
Oh my
lift your
God,
hat.
this is very pretty. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Okay. All right, so now how about formal reports? That was just thank you.
Thank you.
Esther, you want to report?
On the Hall of Fame?
Recap on the Hall of Fame?
Yes, so, seriously, everybody played an important role. As you were walking in, I was telling Diana, you were a soldier reporting to duty. What do you need me? Diana, I need your opinion on this. What do you think? And while everybody else were busy bees, we were a busy bee group going around there. Amber, get over here. We need to escort these people. Everybody was just coming together. Lupita, you were there sitting down, making sure that they knew where they were going. And they would come and tell me, I'm in table 18, I'm in table 18. The lady told me, yes, you are. You're in table 18. She told me table 18, yes, you are. And Maribel as well being there. Carol, my gosh, I mean, Sylvia Malumbo, go pick up this from the city of Laredo. Go and pick up the trophies. Go and, it was a team effort. Diana, I mean, working on what we needed to work on, and Carol watching the numbers and asking about this, and Elia, oh my God, it was amazing. Where are you? I'm in Mexico. Well, Texas, forget about Mexico and meeting the in-laws. What about this and what about that? I mean, everybody responded, and that makes it so much easier, and it was really a pleasure to work with all of you. I'm really excited. I think it was a great event. I was hoping that there would be just a lot more people, but we did limit it. We limited to 150, and it was perfect. It was some of the guests, one of the honorees told me that her people were kind of afraid of this coronavirus thing.
It's affecting everybody. The church
Yeah.
at Sunday, it
Oh,
was
my
like
Lord.
half empty, if not 3/4 empty. Yeah, so people are being very, very careful. Hopefully that's what it
Yeah.
was, because we did have quite
So
a few
we did.
tables that were kind of empty.
Well, we added 2 extra.
Okay,
So the 2 extra really, they were for the in case.
yeah, right,
So we were very nice to the ROTC people.
yeah.
This was the first time that he, as whatever his title may be, and I'm so sorry, I don't know what his title is, but he was in major. I think he said major. But anyway, he was very impressed. He had never been to this before and loved it. So I did a post review, and I'll turn it in to the chairwoman. So whoever will do it in 2 years, it will help them on the do's and don'ts and what we need to do as the timeframes and stuff.
We might want to consider, if not before, a committee meeting to kind of debrief.
Yes,
Not only on what, if anything, could be tweaked just a little more.
Mhm.
I know, for example, there were some questions yesterday about the madrinas, about well, how do we do it
Mhm.
before?
Right.
And so, but that was minor.
Mhm.
But again, if we're going to continue with the madrina and the rebozo, then I think maybe there's some tiny
That's-
tweaking there.
I totally agree.
And I know that Diana, from the very beginning, had wanted to debrief also
Yeah.
on the nominating screening process, so that in 2 years' time, when we do this again, we'll have it letter perfect.
right.
So possibly a committee meeting
Mhm.
before the April meeting.
Sounds good.
And I would suggest, it's fun to get together.
So you can have it in my conference room.
We can go there.
Mhm.
And debrief not only on the nominating, screening process, Diana, but also on the actual event protocols. How about that?
Mhm. Sounds
Okay.
good, yes,
So,
please, thank you.
Let's look at some dates. I don't know if we can look at them now. You
Sure.
have a recommendation for a date?
Spring training starts when, Danita?
Next
Yeah,
The
well,
15th.
Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, this
Friday.
after
Okay.
Friday, we're on spring break. Theoretically Monday, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They're
so it would be,
really Monday. So, and you have 1 week on here?
16.
1 week.
Yeah.
1 week, yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
no?
Elsie, no, I was gonna take 2, but it's only one.
Oh, okay, 1
Yeah.
week.
Yes, yeah.
Did you all want to meet during spring training? Or
Spring break.
spring break, I'm sorry.
She would take us to the.
I'm going for a trip. Spring training is baseball.
I'm trying to fill in another trip and do the one for Israel, sorry about that.
Spring
You know,
training.
it would be hard for spring break, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
The following week?
It would be probably on the 20th and after,
The 23rd is a Monday.
okay. Well, we could do the 23rd at my office conference room if everybody's okay.
Why are we bringing,
Committee members?
because I do Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, we can do that too. I don't have a problem with Friday the
I think
13th.
the
but-
faster we do it.
Oh, you mean this
It's
week? Yeah.
It'll still be in our heads.
I
That's
don't know,
no-
I don't know at what time, because I might have a couple of things happening Friday.
Okay, on the 13th.
Yeah.
What about the next Monday after the Friday first?
Because you have a
Spring break.
Yeah,
it's spring break,
spring
yeah.
break,
I
and
know
so that might be hard for some.
Well, how many of you are on spring break? Well, the thing is, how many of you go to spring break?
Right?
We don't have teenage, well, I don't have teenagers.
I don't have
anymore.
teenagers anymore, no
I don't have
beaches, no nothing.
But if you're a teacher or you work at the college,
Yeah.
it would be.
Well, let's turn it around. Is anyone planning to be out the week of spring break?
I'm planning something else.
Okay, Diana?
On Monday, will you be gone Monday the 16th?
Huh?
Will you be gone Monday the 16th?
I don't know, if they invite me to go to see some snow, I don't know, I think we would leave on Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's stay awake because she needs to be there.
Yeah.
So the week of the 23rd,
Okay,
some day of the, what day of the week of the 23rd?
okay.
What day is good?
And this is,
Monday.
what time, which we're thinking of?
Monday the 23rd, 5:30, 5,
Can it be earlier than that?
absolutely.
Can you guys go
I don't
earlier?
have a problem with
Sure.
that. Just not.
I would be there every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2:30.
Monday,
After 2:30.
everybody want to be there at 2:30 Monday?
Okay.
Monday the what, the 23rd?
23rd, after spring
April?
break. No, March
Oh, I'm
23rd.
sorry.
March.
So who are the people that will be going?
Committee members, which
Okay.
would be Lupita, yourself,
Uh-huh.
Lupita, Maribel, Sylvia, Carol, Elia,
Pueden todos.
and Sylvia.
Okay, and this will be at your
I'm
office?
at conference room.
And what time is it, address?
2:30.
6999
2:30.
Pearson.
Esther, what's your address?
6999 McPherson, Suite 104.
Okay. So then it's on March 23rd at 2:30.
And everybody write your comments down, anything that you like to share with us as well, and then I'll have my post review.
Perfect. Okay. All right. International Women's Day. Amber.
Was a big success. I think it was awesome having different perspectives on different panels and workshops. And this is my first time hosting like multiple things, not just like a lunch or a dinner seminar. So I learned a lot about organizing, and everybody's already asking for the next one, and that we need to do them more like monthly. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, but we can do happy hour or something. And it just gave me a lot of perspective on how I want to plan the empowering women next. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. But everyone had great feedback, had a good time, left inspired.
Nelly was there?
Nelly was out there, yes. She did a proclamation for us,
Okay.
and she was also on the panel, and she had incredible stories. And so I have to thank Nelly and Sylvia and Carol for being on that panel because y'all were awesome. Everyone
I
loved
really feel
it.
inspired
Yeah,
after
it was-
this weekend.
It was awesome.
And Lupita for being there.
Yes.
right on
I
time.
missed it. I was tied up from 7 in the morning till 3 at the college with another leadership summit, so I couldn't be.
One of the discussions that.
Oh, yeah, she
Yes,
was.
yes, we,
She was
well,
in
actually,
the
I got there every
Yes,
day.
yes, and
And it
Sylvia,
was very nice, because I went to the bridge with the international, where we nos abrazamos with the people in Mexico, the women. Then we had a reception at CBD. It was very well attended by Laredo and Laredo. And.
How many women did you have from Laredo or so?
We had, yo diría como unas 30.
Wow.
Y de ahí, well, 30, and maybe también ellas tenían 30. And they gave us a beautiful flower like they did. We wore purple. And then we met in the middle of the bridge.
Yes.
Nos abrazamos de cónsul mexicana y el cónsul mexicano. And we did that last year too.
Right.
And then we all walked back to the CBB, and they had this beautiful tablecloth, purple. And they had a little brunch there, you know, coffee and pan dulce and yogurt and everything. And then the consul spoke, both of them. And then I walked back with the mayor's wife. The mayor's wife was there, Mela, and we walked back to the La Posada. Y de ahí en eso me habló Sylvia y dije, ya voy para allá. And I stayed I stayed till the end. They had a very good session on
Yeah.
the SBA loans and how women can get them, and a lot of information that was very useful, you know, and a lot of young women, and, you know, a little older, more mature women. But I enjoyed it very much. I want to thank Amber for doing that too. I got a lot out of it, Amber, thank you.
It was awesome.
It was very
well,
nice.
you know, one of the things that impresses me whenever I attend events, particularly that have been designed for younger women, is how impressed they are with what they hear. And so I think that, and what, that was one of the comments that I made to the group, that when I was young and their age, none of that was available.
I know it,
None of it.
nothing.
I mean, and as a
I don't even know
result,
how I got my
we-
degrees.
I
It's
know,
like, whoa.
we basically self-limited ourselves, not because not because it was delivered, but simply because it was, I had the opportunity I could either be a teacher or a nurse, and there was no way
That
on
was
earth
it.
I was gonna be a nurse. And so, and these.
I became a teacher.
I did too.
Me
I
too,
did too.
or the nurse.
That was and you became a teacher nurse.
Yes.
But these young women are getting wonderful
Oh, yeah.
insights and preparation. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for those of us who are a little more mature to be able to, because we're learning from them too. We're learning from them too. So it
In
was
fact, I wanted just to say, one of the ladies was on the panel. She made an announcement that she was running for office right there where we were.
Really?
Is this in Nuevo Laredo? No, aquí.
And the mom.
Yeah.
Oh, at Amber's.
that she was gonna run for office?
Yes, she's gonna
Wonderful.
file for the position of George Algate.
Yeah,
Oh,
council.
oh, 'cause George
¿Cómo se llama ella?
Vanessa Perez.
Vanessa Perez, yes. So
Did
she was in-
Ursula Pantoja go too? She's also running,
No,
I
she
think.
didn't go.
Oh, she didn't go?
No, she didn't.
Oh, doggone.
But it was
She
a
was very
wonderful
happy.
event.
But she said, in fact, I wanna let everybody know that I'm announcing running for office here with all of you. You're for the first ones that are gonna hear this.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
That was very nice, yes.
So more
We're
power to
gonna have
Amber
that.
Davis and to all of us who are helping her.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to yes, I will vote. Can't
Well,
wait.
the yes, I will vote is gonna continue. We do have the November election, we're not done yet. In fact, we do have a runoff election coming up out in May. And then after that,
Who's gonna run off?
there's several,
Trying to-
it's the
Rosy
tax assessment
Cuellar
collector,
and
and then the
Patricia
JP,
Barrera.
and the Justice of the Peace,
Juan
Liendo,
Paz and
Ms. Monica
Monica
Liendo, and Mr. Paz are in the
Oh.
runoff there. That's locally, but then I think they're statewide also.
The
They will
senator,
run off for
the one who's
Senate.
gonna run against John Cornyn
Yeah.
is
There's two women in
NJ
fact.
Hager. No, the other one is a black man from Houston.
No, it's Martinez.
No, Patricia
What?
Zun and
No,
no,
era Royce West.
Royce West. And,
I met Royce West in
yes.
Denver when we went to the National
Yes.
Convention for the Democratic Party. We met him, Judy and I. We remembered he made an impression on us. In fact,
Oh.
I voted for him.
Cristina Sensun Ramirez, I just received an email that she's supporting him, Royce West.
Oh, she is.
He's a black man,
Very
I think
well.
from Houston.
Very
I'm not
well.
sure.
So there's gonna
But
be
that's a
runoff, so
runoff.
what we wanna do with the Yes I Will Vote is continue to do voter registration, but I think maybe if I can get feedback from you all to see where do you all want us to go to do voter registration. I mean, I can name a lot of places, but I want everybody to participate. But what I wanted to do is, once we get people registered, we want to keep a log of all those people. Perhaps maybe send them a little note and thanking them for getting registered, reminding them to go out and vote, so that we don't just drop them, and I think this would encourage them there has been studies made, that these people will go out and vote if we touch base with them, and give them information as to where do they go, what times do they go, what party or whatever, because sometimes they don't know what party they belong to. So there's a lot of information, education that needs to be done, but
Macarena sent me the name of that doctoral student from Brownsville that did the
lady
study
Valley?
on voting.
yeah, there
Yes.
has been a study made, and we want to touch base with that lady, Valley, that's her
Yes.
last name.
What was the
Well, we
study?
need to read her study. I think we can read it. I think, I
Oh,
don't
we
know if she
can?
sent it.
When we stayed after and visited with her, we
Yeah.
asked her.
All right, would you be able to send that to all of us?
Absolutely, yes. Let me
Because one of the
see
other-
what she sent me, because I was talking to her last night, making sure she got home safe. And she said, I sent you the link.
So we need to just
Ladies,
continue to do
there's-
that.
There's another facet that I think is very,
Okay.
very important.
I have her name and her phone number. I can call her, so she can forward me the information,
And
then
then-
I can send it
And
to
then
you
maybe you'll
guys.
share it with all of
See.
us.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me give you another perspective that I think is also gonna be very important for us. One of the things that we've always, I think maybe some of us have already always done, and you hear it more and more and more, particularly when you're involved in voter registration, that an awful lot of the community does not know the issues. They don't know the issues, they don't know the candidates, and so it's very easy to influence them if they turn to somebody to tell me how to vote. And that's not our job to tell people how to vote. Our job is to educate. So one of the pieces that I would love to have us consider working with, in conjunction with coalition partners, not something that we do by ourselves, but that with the college, with the university, in particular, with the school districts, that we begin to consider looking at a program of voter education where we could have town hall meetings, where we would have events, for example, at the university or at the college, where issues will be either candidates might want to present, or issues might be presented. We could have whether it be the social studies departments, the history professors. It's not something we're gonna do overnight, because it's something that I think it's very prevalent, particularly I don't know if it's only in our community, that people really don't know the issues. And so.
It's like that everywhere.
It's
Yeah,
everywhere, I
there have
think.
been
And
studies
But
already
the
made.
numbers were very low.
Yeah, how is open is the possibility of creating like a, how to call it, like a tutorial video that you can circulate on social media and explain
Hey.
That's a good one, that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Wonderful
Somebody
idea.
said that's what they
with
like.
graphics.
That's
I don't know.
more effective too.
Oh, yeah.
And it would make
Social
it absolutely
media,
Instagram is
Instagram.
very easy connected to the issue.
We just have to be very careful because we're nonpartisan.
Yes.
I know, for example, the parties have lots of resources, but a nonpartisan, I know, for example, we were hearing often while we were doing this campaign that, when you went to vote, did you notice that they asked you, are you going to vote Democratic or
Yes,
Republican?
yes.
And that some people were getting very upset. Well, it wasn't because they were wanting you to vote, and that's the law right now, but people didn't know that. And so those are just some
They were
basic,
getting upset
because they were being asked.
It was the way it
Oh,
was
because
asked.
they were afraid that if they said they were Republican or Democrat, that somebody was gonna check them
When
off.
I
But you know
when I
what?
went to vote,
I was
when I
just
went to
doing
vote, there were two people that were, as I was getting processed, signing my name on. Two people, when they asked that question, are you Democrat or Republican? Two people.
Didn't know.
Well, they said, one of them said both, did I do both? And the girl very politely said, well, this is the primary, you have to choose one or the other. So he chose one. And then the man right behind him, same thing. She asked Democrat or Republican, and he was taken aback. And then he said, do I have to choose? And she had to explain. So those people that are manning the polling stations,
They're not asking the right question. which ballot would you like?
Exactly.
There's two primaries,
Ah.
Republican, Democrat,
Which
because I
ballot?
spoke to a lot of them when I went
Which ballot
with you.
you like would have been better.
And I was going in to see how many had
Instead of
voted, and
making a
those were
Right,
the
right.
questions that were telling me, they don't know what they
See.
are.
See.
And it's the way they're asking me, they say, are you Republican? No, it's what
What
ballot
ballot do
would
you
you like? We have two primaries, which
What
one
ballot?
would you
That's
like?
it.
Amber had a comment.
Well, I was gonna add to that too. I watched the polls and
Uh-huh.
people were very like, well, I'm independent. Like,
Yes.
You know, I might want to be both ways. And then I saw some people that were like, they asked for the Republican, and then they were like, the sheriff's is not on here. Like, they were like, I looked back and forth, and like they just didn't know the difference.
So a
Like the whole thing
basic,
about
so a
the
basic
primary.
education template would be good, basic, and then possibly other issues. Yana?
And from the college community, of course, keep in mind that a lot of those kids are coming in from high school. They might be 18 and a half. They'll be voting for the first election. They have no idea what a ballot looks like. You know, and I ran my husband's campaign when he ran for board. And I was at the elections office here until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and there were so many ballots of people that just didn't know how to fill in.
We heard that this
Oh
time,
my,
too.
was
or
a
they
lot
would
of
put in,
overvotes,
or 2 votes
So,
That's a
per
lot of
office.
votes.
No, it
does
goes
this
on.
sort
It
of
is worse.
underscore, does
We
it sort
had-
of underscore the point that I'm making, that it would be, I think, really a smart thing for us to consider, that we approach the school districts, the college, the university, and possibly others, but I know those are 4 entities. I'm looking at the school districts, and I'm looking at the college and the university, which already have systems in place that we could join
Do
forces
the high
with.
schools encourage the students to vote or register,
Well,
or can they mandate?
By law, all of them can register them, the principals at the high schools, because they are automatically, they don't have to be like us, just the
Debbie does.
sworn in, yeah. But they don't give them any education. Now, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project has a program, and they can, and like I was, if you want me to, I can let them know, they can train us on this, because there are programs where they tell us how to do the education part of it. And one of the things that's important, like I was saying, you don't, when you register a voter, you just don't turn in the card. You keep the data, because you need to talk to them later. You've got to call them. And this is
Because
why.
Only
you
a
ask
fifth
them-
voted on this election, right? About a fifth of the registered voters?
24%.
Pardon me?
24%.
That's 1/4.
What is
Now,
that?
so
Of
the
150,000.
other issue that is very obvious is that, yes, we register them. There's over 130, and
You know why?
we still could register more, but there's over 130,000 Webb County voters right now in our county. But out of those 130, less than 30, I think it was 30,000, it was 24% of our eligible voters.
You know, and I think I'm not very knowledgeable like you guys are, but I think the fact that I have to go park my car, get down, and then maybe wait to do, you know, the whatever, is people don't wanna do that. And until we get the drive-through, or no, seriously, or online, I think there's some states that are doing
You
online.
need more accessibility, that you can
You
get
have to
down.
go media, you have
you
to
can
vote
go to the mall.
online.
Well, I think it depends on the education, because, by example, in San Marcos, students did 3-hour line in order to.
In
get-
And they was at 6 hours,
they
like
wait
6 hours.
In Heard, 5 hours, 7 hours.
We heard, I think,
I know.
Houston, it was 1 o'clock in the
You are
morning.
lying.
We're
We're
still
still
waiting.
waiting.
But,
Texas broke
so
this
are
up,
we in agreement that these are programs, that these are, not angles, but that these are venues that we need to explore, and in community? The other thing too is that we had pledged, when we had our kickoff, Bill Young was there. He's the chair of the Republican Party. And we are wanting to make sure that he wanted to know would they be involved. And of course, this is nonpartisan. We need to understand that. We might be a predominantly Democratic community, but that doesn't mean that this is a Democratic
Commission.
It's not we're not a Democratic commission. We're a nonpartisan commission. And so I'm going to reach out to Bill Young to invite him. And so the next time we have a coalition meeting, you can expect to have the bankers there and the media there. And Rosie?
That was my comment. Remember when we went to IBC and they had this wonderful, for women only, but it was wonderfully, and the information was great. It was nonpartisan, and they had posters and they had.
The women's forum.
The women's forum.
Yeah.
That, something like that at the college level, at all levels. And remember, we even borrowed some of their
We borrowed
information.
we actually,
Yes,
I know that
and
Amber was
something like
going to
that.
work with the university.
Yes.
I know we're already working with the college, and Marta Villarreal is very involved at the Laredo ISD.
What about working with that group of women that
The women's
started?
forum.
Women's
The
forum.
women's forum.
The
Margarita
founders.
Flores.
And Priya was Wani was also involved with that, Priya?
Well,
See,
remember
but this was from the bank, the
Yes, the
IBC.
bank, it's a quorum, the women's
It's a quorum.
quorum.
Amber?
They
I
were
was just
very
gonna
effective.
add, to information sessions, there is gonna be a Laredo Climate Action Town Hall, hosted by the Green Latinos and another
The
group.
green,
The Green Latinos and
Oh, green is early.
That, I love
Green
it.
Latinos and Move Texas are doing this, and
Alright.
it's March 31st from 5:30 to 8 on Cesar Chavez Day, in honor of Cesar Chavez Day. It's free and open to the public, and it'll be at Tamiyo.
I know, is that here somewhere?
Is that
Or
on
did we
But
run it
remember,
at-
Esther,
But
when
it's
we
part of the
were,
Decidable Vote.
when we were at the meeting at La Posada, that Miss Sylvia, you were saying that it's not against the law and it's okay because you do it, that you give them a sample
Sample ballot.
ballot
Yeah,
and you
that's
tell
the-
them who to vote?
No, when
No,
they
when they
ask.
when they ask you, who do I vote for?
No.
Because they don't know.
This is, maybe, let me.
Maybe I got it
I need
wrong.
to clarify myself.
Yes. maybe
I don't
that
tell
one.
them how to vote.
You tell them.
They ask me, they
Yes,
ask me
they
because
ask
they
you.
don't know, and I'm sure a lot of you got, I don't know if you did or not, but people that I know that have, because I've been involved since the 80s, ladies, so when the elections come around, oye, ¿por qué vamos a votar?
Sí.
This is what they ask me, who are you gonna vote for? Well, I have my choices.
Right.
If you don't have to vote the way I do. This is what I recommend, for you to vote for. You go in, I'll mark your ballot, mark my ballot. Some people just say, mark my ballot. I'll do because
And you can take your ballot
I
in.
respect the way you vote because you know you're in it. I'm not, and that's it. I don't actually say, así, no, van a votar, no, I'm sorry.
What
ladies, I
happens
don't
is that
do
there's a lot of names.
Yes.
See,
You get all
but you
these
can't
names.
tell them who,
And
you can recommend who you
you're
need.
looking at all the names, so like Rosie just
There's so many.
said, Christina, somebody who is renowned, said, look, this is the one that we're going for. That helps, because
That
this thing
helps.
about any mini mo,
Sí, sí.
mexicano, there I go.
Because I never do, because I think I'm doing wrong, but so it's not against the law.
To answer your question,
Yeah, to do that.
it is not against the law.
Okay.
It is a sample ballot, and that's
She's
why they
having
make
a-
them. So
Okay.
people study their ballots before they go to
I
vote.
just want to make sure that it's not against
And
the
they
laws.
can take it inside the ballot box
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
transfer it. In fact, they want you to do that because it's a long ballot. But I never tell anybody or direct anybody or force them. You inspire a vote, you don't demand it. So I've never done that. I mean, yes, I will do it if they ask me.
Okay.
And believe me, I do get asked a lot.
What time is that event? Tammy, you know?
5:30 to 8 p.m.
And what's gonna happen at that time?
It's a Laredo Climate Action Town Hall.
Do you want us to register people then?
Move Texas is hosting it, also they're co-hosting it, so they'll probably be registering voters.
Amber, will you do me a favor? Will you post it on our WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay, so
And is it green because of the earth?
let
Okay,
me,
it's
confirmed.
Do we
let us
have
know.
a
That's one of the
committee or do
groups,
we all
the
agree
Green
on the
Latinos.
committee? Digo, on this committee of the board.
Yes, I will vote.
Yes.
Or yes, I will vote.
It's a Laredo Climate Action Town.
Because I need to know if they want me to, if they wanna be a committee and or if everybody, when I have the meeting, everybody wants to come, I don't know.
Okay, the question is, are we all on the committee? Are you
This
going to want to
committee,
serve on the
yes, I will
committee?
vote, ladies. If you all wanna be all, I mean, that's
March
fine.
31st.
I think it's going to be very, very, particularly when we have voter registration events. We know that not all of us can ever be anywhere all at the same time, but it's going to be really important between now and November. When's the deadline for
The
registration?
month before November the 3rd is October the 3rd.
October the 3rd. So between now and October, we're going to want to be, and a lot of times we might be working in coalition or in cooperation with others. Move Texas, for example, is very active. And so it could be that we might be working in combination with others, but It would be really good if all of us make a commitment whenever we can,
Thank you.
even if it's only an hour. Even if it's only an hour, it's gonna be
And we're
very
gonna
helpful.
ask everyone to please keep the data, and then we'll get it together, and then we'll have a phone bank, and we'll call them. That's why it's good to put their numbers, to remind them that, first of all, if they receive their voter registration certificate, that's a second contact with them. The third contact is to call them and let them know, you know what, it's time to vote, they're gonna be having it here, here, here. Do you need a sample ballot? You can pick it up here. This is the information that they need, so that they know where to go. Because this is the first time voter, and it's been proven by studies that if you go the first time to vote, that you're gonna vote all your life like that, but somebody has to guide those people. And like I said, voter registration is easy. It's getting the vote out. It's the hardest thing to do. And I
Is there
think,
any way we could, I'm sorry, could we do that electronically? Like we said, keep the data,
yes.
right? But can it be done at the time that you're actually registering that person and then put it, let's say you have an Excel spreadsheet or whatever.
Well,
massive
And everybody would
texting.
have, I know everybody would have that spreadsheet. And then if there's a duplicate, let's say between different platforms,
Right.
then it would eliminate it. I think if we would work with IT here, maybe.
I
they
think
could,
only one thing I ask you.
Because it's gonna be too
when you
available when
when
they
you
get
have the
home.
application to register them to vote, to my knowledge, if the law hasn't changed on me yesterday, we cannot make copies of that, but we can keep the data ourselves by writing it down or by,
Well, I'm saying that's a
You
good
know.
idea, but not write it down and put it into an electronic
yeah.
platform.
And-
Because that's gonna be a lot of work.
because when I do the voter registration with the new citizens, that's every 3 months, 150 of them get sworn in, and we registered with the International Good Neighbor Council, which I belong to. I give all the cards and I take them to the elections office. Ellos me hacen a mí una lista de los nombres y las direcciones nomás.
Can you get them to put it into a spreadsheet?
Or how do they do like for the
Get the
massive
law.
texting? Because I would get a lot of texting, like remind
Oh,
myself
yeah.
to vote for Jessica from La Familia. I guess they have a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Or texting.
We need the
Because how to do
telephone
it
number,
like that,
then
or
put
it's gonna
telephone
become
Yes.
for you.
What Diana is recommending is predicated on all of us being tech savvy. It wouldn't be difficult.
I don't
but
think it would be
no,
difficult.
it
Once
would
you
not
have
be
your
difficult.
platform,
Once you
yes.
have.
Yeah.
Because to text that means you're gonna have to input all those numbers into your phone. I'm not willing to do that. My phone's already too heavy.
No,
You
you
know what I
don't wanna
mean?
do it.
But you would need a
Somebody
service.
No, it's a
registered
special
me to vote.
service. I
It's
wouldn't
a
want to do
service.
it.
Okay, one at a time, one at a time.
Yeah.
You're
Following up
Ladies.
with me.
Sorry,
and-
I'm the one
that got mine. Excuse me, if I may, we need to be cordial to where we're speaking one person at a
Yes.
time.
Will you raise your hand?
Please raise your hand, because I mean, we have a conversation here, a conversation there, a
Yeah.
conversation there,
And
and
it's
then,
important.
and everybody has,
Yes.
it's
Good
going
idea.
Amber?
out of order.
I'm sorry,
No,
not
it's
Amber.
Carol.
I'm sorry, Carol.
Carol.
Are you proposing keeping a data list, a data bank of everyone that the Laredo Commission for Women registers to vote? Because if that is true, that would prevent me from registering to vote with this committee, because I don't want to be on some list of someone tracking me and communicating with me and whatnot, but that's
Well,
me.
When we register them, it's an option whether they give us their number or not, and if they don't, just.
And letting them know
Yeah,
that
because
they're
we
giving
tell
the
them when we
information so
register
that they
them,
can be
when
followed
we
up with.
register them there at the federal court,
That's-
we
that's
tell them,
true.
it's an option, but if we need to
Sometimes.
call you for some reason or other, if you wanna put your number, if they don't have.
I think that's a very good, I'm sorry, but that's a very good point, because I was calling people when my husband was running, and some people say, how did you get my phone number? I go, I don't know.
Let's
There's a place
make
to
it
get
very
it.
clear, let's make it very clear. When we register, you'll remember the voter registration card. There's a space for telephone number.
Yeah, ask them
We
if you don't
ask
mind.
them, would you be able, would you like to give us your number? If they give
So
us
we contact
their number,
you.
that's assuming that they don't mind being communicated with.
Okay.
Well,
But if they
would you
don't-
like to give us your number because
Yes,
we
you
may,
can-
we
yes.
may communicate with you?
We can
I
make
feel
sure.
like that's important to add
We
that.
do ask that, we
Yeah.
do ask that.
Not just give me your number,
Right.
but give me your number because I may be calling you.
Correct.
Right, see, no.
Because some people will say no.
I did do a lot of that calling, and we do ask them, if they wouldn't mind. I said, I might call you to see if you got your voter registration certificate. or to let you know when the elections are gonna be, do you mind if you give, oh, no problem. And they were happy we called because a lot of them were
Right,
first
right.
voters.
Yeah, some people
But
are
I
gonna mind.
understand,
Right,
Yeah,
I understand what
But
you're
I'm
saying.
gonna mind, yeah.
Yes.
I'm the elephant in the room. I'm with KGNS. I'm just here for this.
Okay, well, you're more than welcome.
So yeah, just
Take
do your,
yourself at home.
yeah, do your thing.
All right, let me recap. We're going to consider the entire commission to be a member of the committee, so that when we have different events developing, we're going to be able to depend on all of us as time allows to be able to participate. Primarily, one, in voter registration events, and two, as we begin to work on voter education events. These in cooperation with the college, the university, the school districts, that you all would want to be involved in one way or the
I
other.
think we also need to target associations and other big organizations, like the one that Elia is involved with.
expanding to host a registration
And that, Esther and Elia,
They
those
still
are the
open.
ones we had already begun,
Yes.
and we were waiting, for example, on
Yes.
Elia.
Yeah.
Those will be definitely targets,
Yes.
the entities, because I'll give you an example. I belong to Rotary, and we talked about it this morning. Lupita was there. We can assume that every member, we can assume, I hope, that every member of my Rotary Club is registered. But is every employee that each one of them oversees registered? And so we're challenging our Laredo Rotary clubs. Esther is a member of the Laredo Club. I've asked Lupita Cepeda if she would take it to the district level, not just
Okay.
Laredo. She's gonna look to see if it's legal.
The Lions Club.
But for us, we're going to challenge our Rotary Club to become a part so that every one of them not only is registered, but that they give us an opportunity to go and do registration events. We're pending on Elia. Elia is going to be our first kickoff.
So we were thinking, if you don't mind, we were thinking that we just right now volunteer to do the organizations, to concentrate on the organizations and associations.
You mean to tell me,
Anybody else that wants to?
are you
Y'all
suggesting
wanna do all
that,
of them?
wait a minute, are you suggesting that you and Elia be the ones that reach out to organizations?
What we're suggesting is we're gonna search for the
Yes.
organizations and then program it and definitely invite the commission to come and do the presentation. But we want to identify them because they're going untouched.
Okay.
And we're not, and so we identify them. Carol will say, we got this one, what do we do with this one? All right, who in the committee would like to go and make a presentation and try to recruit them?
Yeah, wonderful. Do we need to move on this? Is this an action item? Or are we just agreeing to?
Just agreeing.
All right, wonderful.
The
Wonderful.
early voting for the May election would be, what are the dates?
In May, I don't remember, it's 2 weeks before the election, which is the 26th of May. So 2 weeks before that, prior is the early voting. I have to get that information, but it just came out.
Sylvia, tell us again, what is the deadline for voter registration?
I'm assuming that it's in November. The November election, I'm assuming it's on the 3rd of November. I'm not sure, but
It is.
It is. So it's 1 month prior to the deadline,
latter part
which is
of October
October
3rd.
3rd.
It's safe.
If it falls on a Saturday, it's gonna be on a Sunday.
Okay.
But that's what it is.
Lupita?
This, for the runoffs, only the ones that voted in primary can vote for the runoffs or new ones?
No, and everybody can
Everybody
vote.
can vote on the
Except,
runoffs.
let's say you voted in the, to my knowledge, if you voted in the Republican primary, you can't vote in the Democratic primary.
You cannot?
And the runoff, no.
Okay.
You have to stick to the Republican primary only. But if you didn't vote, of course you can come back to vote. Yes.
So
that's-
Or if you vote
So
Republican.
question, what if you wanted to vote for local candidates and you said, well, they're all in the Democratic
They're all
ticket.
theirs.
I'm going to vote Democratic. Are they gonna prevent me from voting in the Republican, let's just say?
No.
In the Republican ticket when it's the primary vote in November?
No, in November is the
General
general
election.
election. In the November election, there's one ballot. We have the nominee of each party and they'll say like, you know,
Ours,
Republican,
Democrat.
it's
I
one
got
ballot
you.
only.
Same.
It's one ballot.
Hello.
We need to,
You think
yes.
maybe we need an education?
We do. I think we need to
none of the
freshen up.
locals-
Yeah.
None of the
freshen up.
locals-
We're gonna
None
have
of
to-
the locals,
None of the what?
of the locals runners are in the Republican. So you have to vote Democrat if you want to elect your
I don't,
Local officials.
local official.
So in November
in
the
the
3rd,
Republican, no hay ni un runoff, no hubo nada de runoff.
No,
I don't
no
know,
hubo
sure.
ningún local official running in the
so for
It's all Democrat.
clarification,
So you have to vote
for clarification, November the 3rd, we can vote again in whatever party we want.
Yes.
The
because
following
it's together.
January, we have to be in our party.
No, no, no.
Just say
It
January.
just the primaries and then the general. The primaries, there's one party.
Done in November.
There's, in the primaries,
She said
there's a
general.
Republican
She said
primary and
general.
a Democratic Party primary. When you go to the polls, they ask you that, where do you want to vote, Republican or Democrat? Or you want the ballot for Republican? But once you get the nominee of the party in the primaries,
Right,
then
right,
they
right.
put the ballot together, it's one whole ballot.
Okay.
It's
In
not
November, there'll be
Republican.
one ballot.
Yes,
Yes.
it says
That's right.
our
general.
That's right, that's
And I
right.
think
And it'll
that-
have, for example, for governor, it would have the Democratic candidate and the Republican.
And right now, since the Republican is in charge, head, they're the ones that come out first on the ballot, but remember, we always had the straight ticket. We're not gonna have it, as far as I know, in November. This is the first time we're not gonna be able to vote for the straight ticket. The straight ticket meant that at the very top, if you just wanna vote for the party itself, you just bubble the Democrat or the Republican and you're through voting. You don't have to go down the line.
So clarification, November the 3rd, you can vote either or, you're not gonna be
Yes.
prevented from
Oh,
voting
no,
either
no,
or.
that's fine.
Okay, I think one more question for Maribel. I think this definitely tells me it would be really, really neat for us to have.
Well, at first,
And Let's have Maribel,
If we register, are they able to vote in May?
if they want to.
We register someone,
Well, right now,
will they be able
You
to
can-
vote in May?
You can
A month
register
before.
people for if they've never been registered to
Yes.
vote for the runoff.
Okay.
Okay, but it has to be 30 days before.
Okay.
The election is on the 26th,
Mhm.
it's on the prior month of the 26th. So we can.
No later than April
So
26th.
there's going to be
No
another
later.
window
No
for
later than
registration
April
right now.
26th.
Right.
There's another window. We're going to look into a new poll session for us, okay? And we'll talk, we'll let you know as soon as we can. Basic 101, basic politics 101.
Refreshing course.
Yes, a refresh. Okay, thank you, ladies. Okay, let's move on yes, thank you, Maribel.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's look at the Empowering Women seminar that is developing. Elia, is it Elia, Amber?
It's Elia and Amber.
Elia and Amber.
We haven't worked on anything yet, but I did want to propose doing this right after school starts in August, because the ratification of the women's suffrage movement was August 18th, and so I was hoping that we could kind of do something around that date to have this event. And I now I kind of like Saturdays better because everybody's so busy during the week, and so maybe we could do something on the Saturday before. And then on the 8th, I was also thinking maybe we could do a movie night at Alamo with the Laredo Commission for Women and show either Iron Jawed Angels or Suffragettes and kind of like promote
But
it
you're
at that
gonna,
event.
Amber, but it's gonna be around voting or?
It's around like the anniversary of the women's suffrage movement, and it's right after, it's like the week after school starts.
When does
When
school
is it?
start?
School starts August 11th is the start date.
So are we doing?
No.
August,
Just-
excuse me, the school starts on August the 11th?
Yes,
So then, would you want to do it
like
on,
the
the
15th.
15th would be the Saturday after?
Yes.
Okay. Elia, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you can work, I'm registered actually to go to a empowering forum in Dallas on May,
Okay.
so I can get some inspiration, some
Yeah.
ideas there.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm also gonna be speaking at another women's
I read
conference,
about
so I'll have more inspiration in June to bring back to that event.
I like the idea of the movie night.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome to do a movie night on the anniversary.
Question, does that leave the outlet mall out?
No, we're still doing it at the outlet mall, like on like the Saturday.
Okay.
But then on the anniversary of the, it's the 100th anniversary from the women's suffrage movement, maybe that night we can do a movie night at
That would
Alamo
be
Draft House.
great.
Do we still reach out to Erica for
Yeah.
outlet?
Yes,
For
yes.
August 15th,
Yes,
possibly?
for August 15th.
And that's gonna be
If
on
you
a
guys are
Saturday?
okay with that date.
I think it's neat.
That's a good day.
And we can make it like bigger, have a nice
And
fashion
you'll give us
show.
time later, the times and all that.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's it for agenda.
Item number 8. Next meeting.
Oh, no, I know that. No, I meant discussion of items. No, it's okay. All right, let's look at item number 8 and decide on our March regular meeting due to the fact that, our April meeting, due to the fact that April 13th was a holiday for the city. So would you want to consider another date?
Well, I don't know if you wanted to consider the 14th, which is the Tuesday after that Monday,
do that.
or the following Monday, which would be the 20th.
Traditionally, we do the Tuesday after the Monday.
I have the TERS board meeting meets on Tuesdays regularly.
So I would say
The
the
20th.
following Monday.
Yeah, the 20th.
We go to April
20th.
August.
April what?
April
April 20th, Monday, April 20th.
So we're gonna do another week?
Put everything else, everything in here that we
This room is taken.
Yeah, that's what we'll be discussing with Esther's house.
All right, so then it's April the 20th. Ladies, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss before we move to adjourn? No? Great meeting. Great meeting, thank you. And
So moved,
So moved by Diana,
Second.
seconded by Esther, that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, adjourn. Thank you.
My sister was just telling me.
Pues no sé cómo la familia